All right, we're live again. Oh, it'll even tell us how many. Oh, wait a minute. Let me try one other thing here. Hang on. Although this is actually, that's not going to make a difference. This is the. Oh, let's see. I've got a URL.
Is there a button or anything in the control room to add a person who is watching?
I could look. Let's see. Control panel? No. No.
Huh. Yeah, I've never been on that side of the.
I mean, I can. The only thing I can do is one of two things. I could kick you out, or I could now share the controls with you. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there he is.
Okay.
So what
For some reason, I don't know what. That's just weird.
Yeah.
That link you sent me worked.
Oh, okay.
The invites just took me to the events page on Google Plus and did me no good.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well.
I am totally confused at this point.
You see, Mike, you tried it too.
What's that?
The control room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I just
adjusted you up a little bit. There you go.
Just adjusted me up a little bit. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
I don't
keep
know
this
why.
close to me.
That's weird.
What's that?
Well, right now the image it's showing me is. Oh, now it's changed. Okay. It was showing me a freeze frame of me. It was weird.
Basically, like whoever is dominating the conversation at the time, that's the image that'll show up on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna kill my camera though, because I'm just gonna be self-conscious.
Fine, I'll do the same.
Does this work, Mike, for you as far as the sound now? I've got it close to my mouth, or is it too close?
Yeah, it sounds fine to me.
Okay.
Especially since I boosted the volume in the control room.
Okay. Cool. All right. So. And we're recording and it does work because I went and watched a little of the playback of the other test.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I actually wound up when I went to the events page, I actually clicked on it, and it took me to the YouTube page so I could see you guys and hear you guys when I was on the YouTube page, and including hearing you guys talking about me. And I'm shouting into the darkness.
Well, who knows? If this works out, maybe this will just be our go-to from now on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see
Okay,
how this
shall
one
we do
comes
this since we're now,
right.
an hour and a half after we were supposed to start?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll try and do this as well, I wouldn't say quickly, but basically, I mean, since this is live, I'll just chop it up into the segments. Then once I've got the audio, but we'll stop. We'll do the breaks, and
What do we have for reviews besides mine?
I'm going to do a review for the podcast review, so it's just the two.
I thought we had something from Dan.
I never heard back from him, so.
He had said like a couple weeks ago that he had a couple of stuff from Howard the Wolf.
Yeah, and then I contacted him, and then I guess I was too late or whatever. Because I contacted him this week, asking about it, and I guess I was too late. So, no, I got an email about the Hour of the Wolf material that we could use. Yeah. So, but
I don't see why we can't use it, but all right, whatever.
Well, we don't have it right now.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. It's,
Oh, he has to actually provide it. Yes, right.
Yeah.
That would help.
Yeah. That would help.
Okay.
Yeah. So, next time. And I've not heard one word from, and I've sent her numerous messages, Natalia.
I don't know. I haven't heard from her in ages either, so I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, and I want to get a book reviewer in, so if she's not gonna, then we'll see. All right. Yeah. So, Keith, as far as bringing it to the table, you go first, then Mike, and then I'll finish up.
Okay.
Okay. Then as far as the reviews, Keith, yours will go first. And since we already have that recorded and I've listened to it, I have something I want to ask you about. A couple of things, actually, I want to ask you about. So I don't know, Mike, unless you want to start off that conversation.
No, the only thing I have is that I'm actually enjoying Gotham. So, but if you actually, discussion points, you should probably go first, and I'll just interject if need be.
Okay. All right, that works. And then just so you guys know, for the podcast review, I'm talking about the Flopcast. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you either of you listen to the Flopcast?
I barely even listen to this podcast.
No, I haven't listened to the Flopcast at all.
Oh, I think you'd like it, Mike. I think you should give it a try.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's about flops.
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you when we get to it.
Okay.
When we get to it, I'm going to really be winging it, so and it's going to be brief, but that's okay. That works out. All right, so if we're good, then we will begin this episode. Although, hang on. You both have headphones on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, that's weird. I'm getting like some feedback.
I've just got regular old headphones in my tablet. It's my tablet's mic that I'm using. So.
Well, that's fine. As long as you got headphones, because then the sound shouldn't be. So why am I getting? Are either of you picking up an echo?
No.
No.
All right, maybe it's just me on my end then. So hopefully it won't be in the recording itself.
Hmm.
All right. So then, if we're ready, we're going to begin this episode of the Chronic Rift in review in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everyone, to an all-new episode of the Chronic Rift podcast. It's an in-review episode, and the first for the 2015 year. And it's also our first one in, wow, months now, hasn't it, guys?
Yeah, it's also our second one of 2014, basically.
Yeah.
Our second episode. No, actually, this is our third.
All right, okay. I was just being snotty, so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, considering I've made a promise to our listeners that we're going to do at least 52 before this year is over, thus making it a weekly show again, like it's supposed to be.
Yes.
We're sort of on track, although this episode got a little delayed with a number of technical snafus. If the sound quality is a little different, it's because, yes, we're trying Google Hangouts. And if it works out, who knows, maybe we'll be bringing in other listeners in future episodes. We'll see how it goes. That first voice you heard, by the way, folks, Mr. Keith R.A. DeCandido back once again. Hi, Keith.
Hello, John.
And also joining us, Mr. Michael Faulkner from the Weekly Podioplex. Hey, Mike.
Hey, John. How does this thing work again?
Chrissy couldn't be with us tonight. She's dealing with some other podcast issues with her James Bond group there. So we wish her well and hope that she doesn't get captured by Spectre or anything like that. So it's been a while. A lot of things have happened, and we've got some reviews, we've got some pop-top news, and we've also got some things we want to bring to the table. And let's get started first with Keith. Keith, what are you bringing to the table for 2015?
Amusingly, given how long it's been, there's any number of things I could bring to the table, but the one I'm actually bringing is something that just got announced as we record this today. I am going to be the author guest of honor at Galaxy Fest, which is a pop culture convention in Colorado Springs. It's going to be held the final weekend of February, so it's going to be February 27th, 28th, and March 1st, that weekend. This is a nifty convention, and I'm particularly glad that it's actually still happening this year because the person who organized the convention and the guy who originally was going to invite me is David Wax, who unfortunately passed away late last year of a heart attack. But the rest of the con committee is soldiering on, and they're putting the convention on anyhow and dedicating it to his honor. And this is my first time doing a convention in Colorado. In fact, it's my first time setting foot in Colorado since I took a trip there with my family when I was 4 years old. So I'm really looking forward to it. I always like going to a convention with fans I haven't met before, and just meeting a new audience, as it were. And I'm really looking forward to it, and I really want the convention to do well, just because of what happened with David. So if you're going to be anywhere near Colorado Springs the final weekend in February, please give a thought to coming by Galaxy Fest. There is some information on their website, which is galaxyfest.org, but they haven't been keeping that updated. The Facebook page, however, is being updated very regularly. That's where my guest of honordom was officially announced. So if you go on Facebook and just look up Galaxy Fest, one word, you'll find it, and it'll give you information about the convention that weekend. So please do come and see me and say hi and make funny faces at me and stuff.
Make sure you dress warm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Colorado in February probably going to be a little chilly. But
that is some beautiful country out there, though. I grew up out west, out in Utah, and Colorado is gorgeous. I love it out there.
Yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. It's been 40 years since I was there. So.
40 years. Oh, so I'm sorry, did I miss that? You'd actually been to Colorado once before?
When I was 4 years old, so it's actually been 41 years.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Not any memories? Like
Not really.
Yeah.
Like little snapshots here and there, that's about it. Mostly of the house we stayed in, not of the landscape or anything. So, yeah.
I knew someone who lived there for a few years, and he loved it. I mean, he eventually had to come back to New York, though, when job prospects dried up there. But he loved living out in Colorado. Well, all right, we'll definitely put up links for that in the show notes so that people can, head on over there and like the page and such. And if there's any Colorado listeners, check Keith out. Mike, what have you got this time?
Well, it's actually quite fortuitous that we have delayed in doing these roundtable discussions for a while because or these interview episodes, because what I bring to the table is my Doctor Who timestamps project. It's basically I've covered it before, but it's basically I'm watching Doctor Who from the very beginning, every episode, even the reconstruction episodes, and then I'm offering up a small couple hundred word review on my blog, what I thought of it, and then as I go through and I score each episode, I'm averaging them out, and I'm trying to figure out, which Doctor I like best, which episodes I like best, that kind of thing. It's been really fun. I just wrapped up my watch of William Hartnell's run. The blog is up to the Gunfighters, but I've finished now the 10th Planet, and I'm really actually quite surprised at how well I like William Hartnell. Based on what I've heard before in the fandom, and kind of. It's supposed to be really rough with his Doctor, and he's really kind of a curmudgeonly grandfather type from what I've heard. I'm really surprised I liked him as well as I did.
Yeah, he's... it's funny, because when it came to Hartnell, he was one of the last ones I saw out of the old classic Doctor Who, or Doctors, I should say, and yet he does make a lasting impression on you. Now, I reading through your entries, I was surprised at how annoyed you were at the way they sort of gave Dodo the short shrift. Did you like her as a character?
I did, actually. I really enjoyed. There's something about her that it brought a lot of energy to the show, and I really enjoyed what she had brought to the table as far as Doctor Who goes. And I just felt it was really odd of them in the War Machines to just have her in there for maybe 2 episodes and then write her off as she's going off to the farm or whatever it is to hang out and feel better, and then she gets not even screen time. It's just dialogue at the end. Oh yeah, she said she's gonna hang out here for a while, and she loves you. And can we go now? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
The 20th century version of Doctor Who was never good at writing companions out. It's a lot of time. I mean, occasionally they did well with it. I thought, like Sarah Jane's departure was well handled, and a few others. But for the most part, it was just it's like, okay, the actor's contract is done. Bye. Or occasionally they kill him, but that's about it.
Right. Well, in her case, I don't even think her contract was out. She just was a victim of the new producers who'd come in, and they didn't like her. They didn't like William Hartnell. I mean, a big reason why he got pushed along. I mean, I know there was what we saw in what's his name, Mark Gatiss's adventure in space and time, but it was just the producers themselves just didn't like the man. He was,
and his health was bad too. I mean,
and his health was bad.
The shooting schedule they were on was brutal.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it was a different time, like you said, in many respects with the way they handled things and such. But she really got, I mean, the same thing's going to happen, Mike, when you get to them with Ben and Polly. They're going to disappear halfway through the adventure, and then they'll show up at the end. At least they'll get to shake the Doctor's hand, I think, one more time, if I remember correctly, but before he and Jamie go off into time and space.
Now I have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
No, and I'm actually really, I mean, I've only seen Ben and Polly for maybe one serial, 2 serials now. I'm 1 out of 6 episodes into, I think it's Power of the Daleks, the second Doctor episode. And I'm really liking Ben and Polly, the way they play together, and the kind of energy they bring to it, especially with Ben really, ribbing on Polly with, calling her Duchess or Ducks or whatever it is all the time.
Yes.
That's quite amusing, kind of keeps her on her toes. But yeah, I just something about those companions, and at least in the Hartnell series, I had a problem with how they handled Susan as well. I mean, she got a good reward at the end, and the Doctor disappeared, but then it was, he didn't even talk about her again, or if he did, it was to compare her to somebody else. I thought she deserved a bit more too, but hopefully it gets better as far as the companions go.
You've got your work cut out though for you now for the because Patrick Troughton, there's all of, I think, 8 near complete stories, most of what you're going to be watching, especially now in these early run of his episodes, is going to be a lot of reconstructions.
Yeah, and I haven't minded those as much. It's something I also wrote in the review of the first Doctor's run. I thought I was going to have a hard time with those because they're essentially just telesnap slideshows with text running across the bottom describing what's going on, and I've actually done fairly well. I can keep up a lot better with the voice, almost like it's a radio play, and I'm really surprised at how good of a job that is, or how good the production values were, that it could actually be a radio play and you still really keep rolling with it.
Yeah, now that's one thing with those early, actually for a good part of the classic Doctor Who run, is that you could easily just take the audio and listen to them. The BBC released a number of those missing stories with linking narration, but a lot of times the linking narration was pretty obvious. It was more just for the visual effect than anything else. There
was one episode where they did, they animated it. I forget which one it was now, but if you can, if I assume that's what you're going to use when you get that far.
Yeah.
But it was basically the producers of the Scream at the Shalka were supposed to have a second season, but then Russell Davis announced that he's doing a new live action show, so that got dumped. And so they used the budget they had for that to animate one of Troughton's episodes. And I cannot remember which one it is now, but it's really too bad they couldn't do that with more of them. But that was a unique case.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have done actually now with a few others. I don't think it's the same group. I think they've actually had other animators come in because the 10th Planet is animated, and I believe they also did animation for the Reign of Terror.
If I remember right, there were bits and pieces that were animated.
Yeah. But.
Yeah. And this project is actually kind of unique too. I got a compliment from another gentleman who's following along, complimenting me on how hardcore I am to do this, because I'm not just following the 12 Doctors we've got lined up on the official side. I'm also doing the unofficial Doctor. So I just finished off the second and last movie of Peter Cushing's Doctor. In which it was fun, but it was no William Hartnell. And all you
those movies are perfectly fine if you view them as standalone science fiction novels that have absolutely nothing to do with Doctor Who.
Right.
Because yes, he's no William Hartnell. On the other hand, he's still Peter Cushing, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
and that's something I mentioned in one of the reviews that's coming up. Is I if he had his own stories, if he had been the second Doctor or something, and had a chance to carry his own stories forward, it probably would have been a lot better. But since they're making every effort to do almost a shot by shot remake of the Dalek episodes from William Hartnell's run, it's like you have no choice but to compare them to those episodes.
Yeah.
Well, in that regard, you could actually appreciate even more what was done with the Hartnell episodes because of the limited budget that the TV show had, and what they still managed to accomplish in sense of scope and scenery and set design and such. Not that the interior of the TARDIS of Peter Cushing's TARDIS was that impressive. All that. Here we got a movie budget, and what do? We just make it look like a shed with lots of wires hanging around. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Well, we'll definitely put links up for that as well, so that if people want to catch up, if they haven't been following along since we last spoke about it, they can do so there as well. And I guess that
and those
leaves
links
it to me.
Will be on chronicrift.com.
Yes, chronicrift.com. All right, so let me talk to you about what I'm bringing around, because I'm finally bringing something around. I'm usually pretty quiet and let you guys do all the talking, but I'm excited about something that I got as a Christmas gift this year from my wife. Because whenever somebody does a good job with a DVD set, I think it needs to have, some notice. I mean, $6 Million Man DVD collection was fantastic. Dungeons & Dragons, when they did their collection, fantastic. Batman, not so much. As far as the actual transfers and stuff, it was beautiful. But as far as any bells and whistles, they really didn't put a lot of thought into it. They just went with the gimmicks. But my wife picked me up the Avengers Phase 1 Marvel Cinematic Universe Blu-ray set with the suitcase that it comes in. And it is gorgeous. I mean, the suitcase is fun. It's actually cheap, but it's just fun anyway. It's a plastic Tesseract, the energy source.
Nice.
That if you smack it, it starts to glow. Also, the suitcase itself lights up every time you open it up. And it's got, the Blu-ray editions of Iron Man, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers. Plus, if you missed it in the theaters when they did the all-day 6-movie marathon leading up to the Avengers, and they had, what's his name, as Agent Coulson come out and introduce each film, there is another DVD with all those introductions. So this way...
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's just a lot of fun. The extras that they include, all the little artifacts, they've got different files, like shield files, for each movie. Most of them files written by the Black Widow. And it's got like little artifacts like Tony Stark's napkin that says, "We will never sell weapons again," with his signature on it and such. They're cute, but it's just well thought out. And again, the transfers are, it's beautiful watching them. I'm actually in the middle of a marathon right now. I've got Thor coming up this weekend that we're going to watch. And it's got me excited now for the Avengers coming out this summer.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they actually had a problem with that set originally. The briefcase or the suitcase they tried to use was copyrighted by whatever company they went through. They didn't get the clearance for it. So,
oops.
Yeah. So that's kind of why it's a little bit of a cheaper setup. It was supposed to be a very luxurious, nice, smaller size suitcase based on that model that they use in the movie in the Avengers, and they didn't get the clearance out of time, so they had to delay it either to get the clearance or to make a new one.
Which makes you wonder: did they have? I mean, they probably had prototypes, but did they sort of do a run of those suitcases, and if they exist anywhere?
I don't know. I mean, they had one that at least one physical model because they had a photograph and stuff set up. So I don't know if they took it in any conventions or not, but I know they had at least one, which is what tipped the suitcase company or the briefcase company off and said, "Wait a second, this isn't right. We want our share."
Yeah, yeah. Little clumsy on Marvel's part.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, if anybody else wants to get a copy of this set, it's still available. I don't know if it's the $100 price that they were asking for on Amazon over Christmas, if that's gone back up to its regular price. But for $100, the 6 DVD movies and then the extra bonus and all the other features was really cool.
Yeah, the 6 movies alone for $100 is a good deal. So.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Especially those movies, which are really cool. I'm actually waiting. I'm expecting delivery shortly. I picked up. I got an Amazon gift card for Christmas, so I used it to pick up the only 2 Marvel movies I don't have out yet on a form of home video, which is the 2 from last year, Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm looking forward to finally getting those.
Both fantastic films.
Yes.
Yeah, I have not seen either one yet. That's actually, since we're in a marathon viewing right now, I figure I'll just wait, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what they're going to do in the way of a collection for Phase 2. So I won't buy a DVD. I'll like rent it through Amazon or something.
Yeah.
Definitely worth watching though. They're two completely different. What I like is that they're 2 completely different types of movies, even though they're both Marvel movies. But the Captain America was basically a spy thriller, and Guardians of the Galaxy is a straight up space opera adventure, and it's just and they're both tremendously cool.
Yeah, if you like political thrillers, Winter Soldier will be right up your alley. It's fantastic, and then
and it's got Robert Redford in it.
Yeah, and then
and if you had told 15-year-old me that I would live to see actors of the caliber of your Robert Redfords and hell, your Samuel L. Jacksons and your Robert Downey Jr.'s and guys like that starring in Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I mean, DC, sure, they got Gene Hackman, they got Jack Nicholson, but not Marvel. Marvel got
David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, David Hasselhoff and Nicholas Hammond. I mean, this is not.
But. Yeah, and Guardians is just it's a love letter to the 70s and 80s. That's all.
Yeah.
Which is something I don't understand. Then it's like why everybody's making this big deal, or maybe they're not making a big deal, but I'm seeing it headlines and such. After all the success with Guardians, after the fact that it's getting a sequel, why is it that people are a little cagey or a little off on the idea of Ant-Man?
A lot of it is the kind of story behind it as far as production goes. I guess they had Edgar Wright in there to do the screenplay, and then it didn't mesh with what Marvel was looking for. He was doing...
Well, it wasn't just that. It was Edgar Wright's passion project. He was the one who pushed them to do it in the first place, and he's been working on the movie for several years. And so the fact that he's no longer involved with it is worrisome, because the only reason they were doing an Ant-Man movie was because Edgar Wright was the one pushing for it in the first place.
Yeah.
Also, the first trailer they released was horrible. and it's honestly, it's the first Marvel movie trailer where I kind of went, eh.
Yeah. But I mean, they are kind of bolstering themselves a bit, because Guardians was the big gamble, and now Ant-Man's like, okay, if we can pull off Ant-Man, we can do anything. Watch yourselves, DC, because Marvel's unstoppable if they can pull off Ant-Man.
Yeah. That's okay. DC can make up for it by saying, hey, our TV shows are working, so,
Yeah.
Yeah, are they ever? Wow. All right, well, I'll put a link for the Avengers set if anybody wants to pick it up. And, of course, anything you purchase through our website here at chronicriff.com will help the podcast as well. So please consider that when you're making Amazon purchases. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll get into the reviews, since this is a in-review show. All right. When we come out of that,
just remembered that I didn't actually talk about Agent Carter on my roundup, but I think I want to save that for when the whole miniseries is over, and I'll review the whole thing. So.
Okay. All right.
Because it's been amazing so far.
Oh, it has.
I've only seen the
first man.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sue's not a big, S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. She doesn't really watch it much unless, she's got nothing else to do and she sees me watching it.
Yeah.
But she's riveted with Agent Carter. She's enjoying it.
Oh, yeah.
It is
anyway.
just pulpy fun.
Yeah.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll do your review first, and like I said, I'll get the conversation rolling because I do have
Okay.
a couple of points. All right, so we'll begin the in review segment of this episode in 3, 2, 1. Can't have an in review show unless you've got some reviews. We've got a couple this time around. It's a little slow start for the year, but we're going to get back on our feet by next month. Let's start things out first with Keith's review from Couch Potato Salad. Let me do that again. I don't like that.
Please.
Yeah. All right. All right. In 3, 2, 1. And since this is a new in review episode, we need some reviews. We've got a couple to get the year started here. We'll get back into full swing with the full reviews next month. But we're going to start things out here as Keith brings us a new installment of Couch Potato Salad. That's better.
Much better, yes.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to come back from Keith's review in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm watching Gotham, even though I kind of said I wouldn't, because not because of anything to do with the show itself in the sense of, oh my God, another prequel, whatever. I kind of have been on Alan Brenner's side when it comes to this whole thing of, giving creators recognition for their work, and the producers won't even give him, an on-screen thing at the end of each episode that Barbara Kane has appeared in. I think it's Barbara Kane, right? What's his name's fiancée?
Yeah.
So I kind of, but I couldn't help myself. I watched the first episode, and I kind of got sucked in, and I've been watching it ever since. But I'm curious about one thing, Keith, because you've said that you mentioned that how there have been hints that this could be the prequel to Dark Knight or the prequel to this Batman, and you said 60s Batman. I totally missed that.
I'm just thinking in terms of the town full of crazy villains thing.
Okay.
Okay, perfect example. The guy who kills people by attaching them to balloons. That's straight out of William frickin' Dozier. Just the incredibly goofy villains really just is giving me the William Dozier vibe that more than anything else. I was thinking that episode in particular, the balloon guy, because that was just so completely out of place with the tone of the show.
Right.
Except it wasn't entirely because the show can't make up their mind what the tone of it is. With regard to what Alan Brenner said, I mean, the sad reality is, and I'm saying this as somebody who writes work-for-hire fiction, DC has no obligation, and Warner Brothers has no obligation to give anybody credit. They only give Bob Kane credit because he had good lawyers. And Kane doesn't even deserve all the credit for creating Batman anyway. That's basically a legal obligation that only has a passing resemblance to reality. DC is generally good about acknowledging the creators of the original, but they don't always. And, that's what work for hire means. It means you don't have any rights to it and any control over it. And, credit is nice, and sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. But that's what happens when you work with somebody else's intellectual property. I think it's crummy that they're treating Alan that way, but that's the job. I created a character in the Star Trek fiction that appeared in several novels that I did not write, and short stories and such, and I had no creative control over her, and then she was killed off. I was not consulted. I was not, I found out about it. I found out about it because, the people writing it are friends of mine. But I knew that was a risk when I created a character for a universe I do not own. And that is, that's the sad reality of it. That's my rant on that subject. It's like, they're not obligated to give any credit, and it's great when they do. I was particularly pleased to discover that, jumping back to Guardians of the Galaxy for a second, Bill Mantlo was the creator of Rocket, and Mantlo was in a horrible car accident, and he's basically completely on medical support now, and he can't write anymore. He can't even really hardly talk anymore.
Right.
He's under medical care 24/7. Marvel did right by him in that, and he basically, because they used Rocket, the character he created prominently in the movie, he is getting, I don't know what the exact terms of the deal are, but he is getting something for the use of the character in Guardians of the Galaxy, which was good of Marvel. But again, they had no legal obligation to do that. One could argue they had a moral obligation to, but corporations are silly about moral obligations as a general rule.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's because it's interesting. You say the '60s show, and in a way, it's a weird theory I've had that this is a prequel to the '60s series, in that it's actually all because they're focusing on James Gordon and everything, and if you ever watch the '60s show, Gordon is the ultimate fanboy of Batman, and look at the way Gotham is, the way everybody is so perfect, in terms of they're all good citizens, they all do the right thing. It's like, to me, this is the story of how James Gordon basically got the entire town under his thumb, and he now rules Gotham City. He's even got Batman at his beck and call.
That's an interesting theory. I like that theory.
So
I like that theory a lot, actually.
And it's going to be my justification. I'm sorry, I was going to say it's going to be my justification for reviewing the episodes on the Batcave podcast at some point.
There you go. But like I said, the balloon guy, and also like in the Asylum episode they just do with the electrocutioner. That's straight out of Dozier too. But and then sometimes it's doing Gotham Central, sometimes it's doing Batman Year One, sometimes it's doing Bruce Timm. It's just it's all over the place. I mean, I keep watching it partly because the performances that are good are superb.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I would the last episode before the hiatus had an entire subplot that involved Bullock and Alfred going off and investigating, looking for little Bruce Wayne who had gone missing.
Right.
I would love to just watch the show that's Alfred Pennyworth and Harvey Bullock going off and solving crimes or finding people or just constantly snarking at the entire world. That would be awesome. Sean Pertwee as Alfred is one of the best things about the show. I love Sean Pertwee, and he's looking more and more like his father every day. It's kind of scary, but he is excellent, and I loved him he appeared in Elementary last year as Lestrade in a few episodes, and he's absolutely nailing the role of Alfred.
And you got a problem with Selena Kyle, huh?
The young woman playing her just isn't. She's dead on arrival. And it seems like they're going out of their way to give her as little dialogue as possible because they realize how bad she is at it. It's too bad because she's a good character, obviously, But I really feel like the actor is just not pulling it off.
But do you think she's a ringer for Michelle Pfeiffer?
She looks like she could be a young Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah. That may have been why she was cast.
That's what because I was talking about that with Billy Flynn on the Batcave podcast, and we came up with that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's certainly a factor, I think. And I'm not warming to the Fish Mooney character at all.
No.
But then again, I'm not the biggest fan of Jada Pinkett Smith. She's never. Yeah, she's completely overacting this part, and not to good effect, I don't think. On the other hand, Robin Lord Taylor's amazing. He's nailing it. So.
Yeah, the amount of cheese that Jada Pinkett Smith is bringing to this might be another tie-in for your '60s Batman link there. Jim.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. The name alone.
And I say that with all the love in the world for the '60s Batman series because I do love that series. But
oh yeah.
Now, what am I getting?
And now every time I watch it, I'm going to think that Jim Gordon is actually ruling the city. This is great.
What am I going to get you on the podcast, Mike?
Yeah, I've got to get on there. I honestly do. It's just finding the right time to get the episodes in order and get on there. Although if you need someone for the Batgirl episodes, I actually liked. Granted, I saw it in syndication, and I saw them out of order, but some of my first episodes were Batgirl episodes, so that was my introduction to the '66 Batman series.
Well, we're coming up on those. We've got probably about another, 8 or 10 episodes from the second season to go, and then we're going to be hitting the Batgirl episodes. So, all right, I'll hit you up on those when we get to it.
All right.
All right. We're going to do one more review here. This time around, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it live. Just like we're doing this now here on Google Hangouts. The podcast review. This time around, I want to talk about the Flopcast. This is a podcast. It's on weekly. Every Sunday you can get new episodes. Hosts Kevin and Cornflake, and it's Cornflake with a K. This is a really fun geek out podcast. What I love about it is just, I mean, in addition to the fact that these guys can 1 minute be talking about cartoons and the next minute be talking about, going to classic, and I say classic in the sense of, concerts today, they're going to see the Monkees and they're going to see Fleetwood Mac and such. They're not going to see, Katy Perry and such. Or they're going nuts because they got to meet Sam Jones, who played Flash Gordon in the 80s movie and such. But there's also just this whole vibe of, how to best put it? Did any of you ever see the TV show The New Zoo Review or The Great Space Coaster?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Marlowe and the Magic Movie Machine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, there you go. Marlowe and the Magic Movie Machine is they're all kids shows that all taught us a little something and at the same time had sort of a cast of characters and regular features. Listening to the Flopcast is like watching one of those old episodes because Kevin and Cornflake live in Chicken Town. They tell you it's live from Chicken Town, and it's called the Flopcast, and every week they do segments just like on those old shows. They've got Chickens in the News. They tell you about stories about where chickens are involved. They've got the National Whatever Day feature. They'll tell you, the upcoming week, look out for National Dragon Appreciation Day or something like that, which recently just passed. They also, every once in a while, pull out one of their sort of encyclopedic books. They call it the Pudding Pages segment, and they'll just randomly open up to any page. They don't know what it's going to be before the show starts. And let's say it's, Skeletor. That just happens to be in one particular book. And then they will spend the episode talking about Skeletor. And they're just so much fun, the two of them. They have a great time. Kevin's got a wicked sense of humor. I got to meet him at DragonCon for the first time this past year. Just a nice guy. So I want to recommend to everybody here, check out the podcast, the Flopcast it's called. It just recently joined the ESO network, so you might be able to find it over there, or if not, I think they have flopcast.com or flopcast.net. I'll double check that, and I'll put the links for it in the show notes as well over at chronicriff.com. But you can also find them on iTunes, Stitcher Radio. Kevin's got it all covered. Trust me, take a listen to this podcast. I think you'll enjoy it. So if we don't have anything else, why don't we take one more break? And when we come back, we'll do a little talking about the Pop-Tops. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 2 down.
1 to go.
1 to go.
Woo!
I don't know what... that's one thing here. This doesn't tell you, how much time has passed. But that's okay.
It's definitely less than 8 hours.
I mean, it's got to be only, 35 minutes? Because didn't you say, Keith, that when we started it was about 10:30?
Thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah, it's 11:04 now.
Yeah.
So that actually isn't, and we're going to insert your thing. So actually, we're just about maybe 40 minutes total with the introduction and the music and all. All right, let me just get the clock here set up.
Well, what happens, we only have 2 reviews, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, then. So we're going to come back. Let me lift my mic up to my mouth again. Are you guys getting any little feedback or anything?
Not feedback, but occasionally that echo you mentioned shows up on yours, but only sometimes.
Okay. All right. All right, so we're going to come back from this break in 3, 2, one. And as we wrap up this episode of the Chronic Rift in Review, we're going to take a look at some recent, I know it's been a while since we've done one of these, so we're not going to go too far back, but some recent Pop Tops news, things that we have posted on the Chronic Rift, I can say it, on the Chronic Rift Facebook page. And the first thing we're going to start off with is actually this whole thing that was going on with Netflix this month where they put the fear of, I don't know, Rassilon into everybody when they said that Doctor Who and a number of BBC shows were not going to be on the Netflix queue come the beginning of February, but at the last moment they seem to have worked it out. From things I'm hearing, though, that was never the case. It was never going to be dropped at all. That some people just sort of misunderstood that other BBC shows were dropping, and so they just lumped Doctor Who and Torchwood and all the others into it.
I've seen this a lot lately whenever contracts are up between, usually it's cable companies, but Netflix works on the same principle. Whenever the contract's up for renewal, it's a negotiating tactic to get, public interest on their side. I'm not sure if that's the case here. I don't know what the specifics are, but as soon as I saw that, my first thought was, oh, okay, Netflix is trying to play hardball negotiating with the BBC, or they're not going to be able to come to terms on the streaming deal, so they're going public with it and trying to draw up some public support. That's at least what it felt like. Whether that's actually the case, I have no idea, but it just felt like yet another case of that to me, and so I didn't really take it very seriously.
Yeah, on my side, I didn't take it very seriously either, because you look at the internet hyperbole machine, that you see one thing and they blast out into panic mode of, oh, the sky is falling, we're losing all these things, and it's like, come on, guys, let's just wait and see what happens. And when they said all of BBC is going away, it's like, okay, and then they said that only parts were going away. It's like, okay, that was the hyperbole machine working again. Awesome, guys.
Right. Yeah. The thing is, to me, it didn't bother me because I was like, well, my Netflix experience is never as good as my Hulu or my Amazon experience anyway in terms of picture quality.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, my Netflix pictures quality is never as good. Hulu's is the best. Amazon's pretty decent. So when I do stream, when I'm not using the DVDs, I go with Hulu. I don't mind some people complain about the commercials. It's 15 seconds to a minute and a half tops, which is a lot less than watching it on TV.
Oh yeah.
See, and strangely, I've had kind of the reverse luck. Netflix and Amazon work really well here, but Hulu has a problem. Now, granted, I'm watching the free version instead of the Prime version or the Plus version, but it seems to every once in a while just hang up in the middle of the video, so the sound keeps going, but then the video will catch up a few seconds later. So it's kind of laggy.
That does happen from time to time. Yeah, that's true. I have that happen as well. But in terms of overall general picture quality, like for instance, just even watching episodes of Star Trek on Hulu or Netflix, Hulu's always better.
Yeah. Of the three, Netflix is the only one I use, so I can't really speak to the others.
Yeah.
But I've never had a problem. The only times I've had issues has nothing to do with picture quality and has to do with our wireless conking out on us. But,
and speaking of Speaking of Doctor Who, have you been seeing that recently a lot of postings on Facebook about, top 10 this or top 5 this for Doctor Who, and then when you click on the links, it takes you to the Radio Times? They had been going overboard with just fluff pieces on Doctor Who. I guess maybe...
Clickbait!
What's that?
Clickbait!
Yep.
Yeah.
They mention Doctor Who, it will get people to their website and will get clicks on their site, and they can charge more for advertising. Yeah.
And when I clicked through for the top 10 or whatever it was, control rooms, and they listed Matt Smith's first one as the winner, I was like, okay, I'm done with these guys. You got to be kidding me. You listing that as the top control room ever? No, we're done.
Yeah. Well, especially when they said, we would have made Paul McGann's number 1, but it was only in one movie. And it's like, so?
It was the best control room.
Yeah.
It was.
Anybody who says otherwise, I have nothing to say to them. But
Exactly.
He declares.
Yeah. And then for that matter, they kind of put Hartnell's one like fairly low down. And when you consider when it was made, what it was made on the kind of budget and stuff, it's a beautiful piece of machinery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Who knows? And like you said, clickbait just to get them over. Now
Pretty
something.
much.
Yeah. Now something actually, Mike, you posted recently is the whole Heroes Reborn, that they're going to be doing a new series of Heroes, and Zachary Levi is going to be starring in this. Zachary Levi from Chuck.
Yeah.
Now, had you watched Heroes or Chuck before, Mike?
I watched the first 3 seasons of Heroes. I kind of dropped off. It was right in the middle of a move or something, so we lost it, and it was before I had a DVR or anything like that, and so I've actually got the DVDs here. They're still shrink wrapped. I got them when they first came out. I still haven't opened them. As far as Chuck goes, we just finished that. Was last year on Netflix, and I loved that series. Zachary Levi was fantastic in it. So it's going to be interesting to see. Right now, it's him and his name is escaping me, but it's the actor who played HRG in the first series.
Oh, yeah, him.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name either, but yeah, him. He's really good.
That guy.
They're the only 2 actors that are on the books right now for Heroes Reborn. It's just basically a continuation, down the road from what happened in Heroes, but with new characters.
And Tim Krieg's going to be in it? Like, as far as the involvement?
I think so. I haven't seen. I've seen his name as far as they say is a creator of the original Heroes, but I don't know if he's involved with the reboot, side boot continuation thing.
Right. I forget when it was, but it was that whole time travel thing with what's his name's character when he went back to feudal Japan.
Masaoka.
Yeah. Pretty much lost me.
Oh, they lost me. Honestly, the show lost me when Sylar survived the first season, which defeated the whole purpose of the entire freaking first season. And Jack Coleman is the actor.
Yes.
Okay.
You're thinking of, yeah. But
yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be.
It's unfortunate. Heroes was such. It had a great first season, even with that screw up of an ending, and then the second season, it's like the second season was like, oh crap, we were renewed. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
And the third season was just rehashing the same novel plot again, and then like I gave up at that point. It was just, it really felt like they really only had one story to tell, so they were just going to tell it over and over again.
And it didn't help at all that the second season was right in the middle of that writer's strike too. So
right.
Yeah. Which was not their fault, but still.
No.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you this: Thunderbirds. Were either of you ever fans of the show?
Never.
Never.
Never. Did you ever watch it?
A couple times I tried.
Bits and pieces.
Didn't really last very long.
Now, I'm not going to say I'm a fan. I mean, I've seen a few episodes and such. I like the whole, marionation techniques that Jerry Anderson used in all his shows, whether it was that or Captain Scarlet or what have you. But, when they did the live-action movie a few years back, I even liked that. I mean, Jonathan Frakes had directed it and such. It wasn't too bad. Now they're doing a new Thunderbirds series, and it sort of defeats the whole purpose of Thunderbirds if you're going to animate them and not use either marionation style or do it live. They're using some creepy, animation style right out of like Beowulf. It looks like.
Ugh.
Yeah. I just, oh God, and it's all bright and colorful. It's overly lit. The one image they show of the Thunderbirds team, I don't know. I'm like creeped out by the whole thing. Even the headlines, say "Stare into the soulless eyes of the Thunderbirds" or something like that. Oh God, more redoings and doing it in a way that just you're like scratching your head and saying, if you're gonna do it, can you at least do it the way it's supposed to be? Even a few years ago, they did a Captain Scarlet, and it was animated, and it wasn't that bad. This is just really ugly animation.
Did you ever see the Star Wars: The Clone Wars? The most recent one?
No.
Okay. It sounds like that animation style they used there. They were they were animated, but they were almost kind of a wooden puppet type of look to them. Sounds like it would have worked a lot better for the Thunderbirds than this Beowulf style.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see. I didn't like it. I saw bits of the Clone Wars thing, and all I kept thinking was I like Gendy Tartakovsky's work better. I just thought it was better suited to the Star Wars feel than the animation they did. But I could see that style of it. You're right. I think that style of animation would work great for the Jerry Anderson stories.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that goes. I'm actually watching right now. Speaking of Jerry Anderson, I'm like almost done watching UFO, which I'd never seen straight through. I'd seen bits and pieces, an episode, an odd one here or there. And it's funny how, I don't know, nobody's ever really mentioned this, how the actors in his live-action UFO show were about as wooden as the marionettes.
Yeah, well.
Oh. You know, I just keep holding out because they say, oh, you know, you've got some decent British guest stars, though, appearing. And, yeah, like Philip Maddock was in an episode and such, and it's cool to see that. But, you know, you got to get around some of this acting. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thing, you know, because we're starting to run out of time, but I wanted to bring up, I put this up there on the Facebook page, how the Japanese have released plans for their first underwater city. I don't know. To me, I'm kind of surprised we haven't gotten to that point in our society sooner. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's worth a shot. It's certainly less expensive than trying to put something in space, although about as dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, about as dangerous. What's that, Mike?
So there's plenty of real estate under the water.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. It's like it's all there, and it's, you know, I don't know. It just, especially also when you hear all this stuff about global warming and stuff. I'm surprised more people haven't taken advantage of the idea of, you know, an underwater dwelling.
Well, it's just a matter of figuring out a way to make money off it. I mean, that's what motivates most things. I mean, you know, Columbus didn't sail across the Atlantic because he wanted to discover a continent. He sailed across the Atlantic because he was trying to find a better trade route.
Yeah.
You know, somebody needs to identify a way to profit from it in order for it to happen, because it's going to be incredibly expensive and difficult to do it.
Right.
So
either that or declare war on Atlantis.
Somebody's figured that out, or taking somebody incredibly rich with nothing better to do with their money. You know, one or the other.
Right.
Which is probably what the future of the space program is going to be at the rate we're going. So.
Or just declare war on Atlantis, because war tends to make you develop technology as well.
Yeah. I'm just thinking
beat
in
the
terms
crap
of
out of Aquaman. That's right.
Right. There you go. I'm just thinking in terms of, like, you know, it's 2015 and everybody's making a big fuss over, you know, where's our hoverboards and such from Back to the Future. I'm like thinking, damn it, we've only got 3 years left. Where's our sequest in our underwater, you know, towns and villages and such?
Our talking dolphins.
Yeah.
I want a Darwin!
Well, we could do without the talking dolphin. I'm fine with that. I'm with Michael Ironside on that one. We don't need a talking dolphin. Oh, man. All right, well, let's wrap things up here. We've actually got 2 minutes left, but I don't have anything else to share here unless there's anything you guys want to talk about as far as pop culture is concerned. Well, we got 2 minutes left.
Well, Deadline.com actually posted today that apparently the next rewrite of the Star Trek 3 script is going to be co-written by Simon Pegg.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that like I said, that was just what we got on Deadline.com. I have no idea if that's actually the case or not. I haven't seen it verified anywhere else. This just went up today. It's Simon Pegg and another writer who's done a bunch of other different things. But it's an interesting thing. I mean, God knows he's a fan of Star Trek. That's obvious in his performance. So and we already know he can write because he's done it before. So, you know, that would actually make me a lot more excited about the next film than I was before. So, if true.
If it gets Scotty doing more things in the movie than being put into a watertight tube or, you know, ejecting people across the depths of space, I can get into this.
Yeah. or running through really big corridors a lot.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of
that. Although, to be fair, that was some of the funniest parts of the second film, was him, running through corridors and saying, "I'm getting there, I'm getting there."
Big ship.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, as much as I loved his performance, I don't think they did a lot with his character in either movie.
Mm.
No, they didn't.
Well,
No.
maybe that'll change if he writes it.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, that movie's really come a long way since, when they just announced that, okay, here's the date. And it's like the way it's been changing hands.
Yeah, I get the impression they're really trying to find the right setup because and 2016 is going to be the big anniversary, the 50th anniversary. So I think they're really trying to find someone who can get it done fast but get it done well, because they want to do right by everyone but still make a killing on it at the box office.
Yeah.
Still no TV show though.
No.
Yeah, well.
All right, there we go. Our 15 minutes is up, so we'll call an end here to these Pop Tops, and we'll start wrapping this show up. As we do, we'll give Keith and Mike an opportunity here to let us know what's going on in their little corners of the internet universe. Keith, we'll start with you.
I've got a couple things out right now. There's a couple short story anthologies that I had stories in. One called Out of Tune, which is edited by Jonathan Mayberry and has stories based on old ballads, mostly old sea ballads and such. Mine was based on The Mermaid, the child ballad that's just called The Mermaid. And it's one of my Cassie Zukov stories taking place in Key West, Florida. I also have a story in a Stargate anthology, which is my first piece of Stargate fiction. Fandemonium put out an anthology called Far Horizons, which has 5 SG-1 stories and 5 Atlantis stories. I did one of the SG-1 stories called Time Keeps on Slippin'. It actually fills the gap between the third and fourth seasons of the show. And coming up this year, I've got stories in 2 more anthologies. One is another V-Wars anthology, also edited by Jonathan Mayberry, which is Jonathan's shared world vampire thing, which has had 2 anthologies out so far, with the third coming up. The third one's called Night Terrors, and I'm going to have a story in it called Streets of Fire, which is sort of a sequel to my story in the first anthology, The Ballad of Big Charlie. V-Wars is also a monthly comic book from IDW that Jonathan's writing that's really good. I strongly recommend it. And Jonathan is also doing an X-Files anthology. He's actually doing 3 X-Files anthologies. The first one's going to be called Trust No One, and I'm going to have a story in it called Back in El Paso, My Life Would Be Worthless, which is, it was tremendous fun to go back and do. I was a huge fan of the X-Files when it was on the air, and I'd actually pitched a novel to HarperCollins back when they had the license, but the pitch didn't go through. So being able to do an X-Files story is just an absolute thrill for geeky 25-year-old me. And I've also, my Sleepy Hollow novel is out still, Children of the Revolution, which has been getting great reviews. Just as in 2015, we're trying to get the Chronic Rift back to being a weekly podcast again, I'm going to try to actually do Dead Kitchen Radio again, because it's been months since I did. I'm going to try to get back. Hello?
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. You actually cut out there for a moment at the last moment. Can you just say that last part about Dead Kitchen Radio again?
I do garbled.
What's that?
Hello?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, there you are.
Yeah. Can you repeat that last part about Dead Kitchen Radio, because that got garbled?
Which last part?
Well, look, just talking about Dead Kitchen Radio in general, you said, like, just like we're trying to get the riff back up, you're going to get...
Oh, okay.
Because that all got garbled.
Okay. Also, just as we're trying to get the Chronic Rift back to being weekly in 2015, I am going to try to get Dead Kitchen Radio back to monthly, as opposed to 2 or 3 times a year. It's been months since I did an episode of Dead Kitchen Radio, and I really want to get back on the stick with that in 2015. So that is my goal.
All right. Well, I'll try and hold you to it. Mike, How about you?
Well, as we mentioned before, got the timestamps project that I'm working on my blog. It did slow down quite a bit in 2014 due to a hard drive crash that wiped out most of the files, so I didn't have anything to watch. Now that hard drive has been, mostly recovered, and I've got some backup sitting right over there, podcast right. I should be able to keep that rolling pretty quickly, or at least a semi-regular schedule. The other project I'm working on is the continuing exploits of the Weekly Podioplex right here on the Chronic Rift Network. One thing I'm trying to do for 2015, since it is the year of the new Star Wars movie that's coming out, is of all the times I've watched the 6 movies in the Star Wars saga, I have never actually reviewed them. So starting with one of the January episodes and going regularly through there, I'll be reviewing the actual Star Wars saga, and I'll be going through in what is called the Machete order, which is it's 4, 5, then 1, 2, 3, then 6. So it should be entertaining to get a new look at the saga that way, and then also get some words down on what I think and try to lead up a little bit to the release of the new movie in December of this year.
Cool. And I just want to add, like I said, chronicrift.com. We're going to get we're going to get 52. That's the goal. One way or the other, there'll be 52 episodes this year, which will make it almost weekly. In some cases, there might be a delay, like this was delayed. It should have been out last Saturday, but here it is now. We're going to follow this up very quickly with an episode featuring Chrissy, in which she's talking with Dan Starkey, who played, what was the Sontaran's name on Doctor Who? I want to say Styr, but I think that's the classic series. Strax. There you go. Strax. Yeah. So her interview with him, that'll be the next episode, and then we've got another Spotlight episode followed up after that, and then we've got a new roundtable episode, Keith's discussion of Doctor Who from DragonCon. What was the specific topic for that one, Keith?
Doctor Who Asked the Experts. We were just a bunch of Doctor Who fans carrying on at great length about Doctor Who at great length.
Oh, okay. Cool. So, and I also just want to quickly add, I mentioned before, Batcave podcast. We're moving along through the second season. We're almost up to Batgirl. Probably be sometime in May or June that we'll start the Batgirl episodes. And also Cyborgs the Bionic podcast, our Parsec Award-winning podcast, is about ready to start reviewing the Bionic Woman television series. We've actually recorded 3 episodes so far. We just have to release them. Currently, our most recent episode is from the $6 Million Man, The Winning Smile, in which, Keith, you'll appreciate this, Jennifer Darling Callahan is back once again, and they're accusing her of being a spy in this episode. Yeah. Yes. The Darling effect, as we have come to know it on the podcast, is in full effect in this episode. And stay tuned. In 2 weeks' time, we're going to be releasing our interview with Oscar Goldman himself, Mr. Richard Anderson. So that's all coming up, and you can find all these episodes over at chronicrift.com, iTunes, Stitcher Radio. It's all there, folks. So just want to thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being patient as we got this all together. And also, Keith, Mike, thank you for being patient as we try to get this recording done.
Yes, indeed.
So until next time, folks, thanks so much for listening. Keith, Mike, take care.
Good night.
Night.
All right, that's it.
Okay, that whole last bit was just a mess on my end, but
Hello?
there you go. Okay, I gotta get going.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll
I will talk to you guys later.
All right. Take care, Keith. Bye.
Bye.